oh, that's where he lives. Don't make him homeless. It's sort of that. But then what people like OJ will do is get a really massive home, sink all their value in that, and it can't be touched. Although OJ just seemed to ignore the court for years anyway and be just fine. It seems like he doesn't care.
Dude, the longer he goes, the more on his side I am. Who's to say?
Have you not seen any of the documentaries or television shows?
Yeah, Kyle, I've watched all of them, same as you, and I just have a difference of opinion.
I don't
think he did. I don't think he killed that lady. And
shut up. If you go and watch, if you want to see a wonderful mini series, I know I've recommended it before, but for everybody needs to hear it every time I say it. I think it's called The People versus OJ Simpson.
OJ,
it's the one with Cuba Gooding Jr. playing OJ.
Snow Dogs?
And from Snow Dogs. The man won he won an Oscar.
Radio. He played a retarded guy. Yeah.
He also was in Men of Honor with Robert De Niro. Very good movie. Carl Bashir, first black U.S. Navy rescue diver. It's a crazy accomplishment that he made post World War II.
What's the real evidence that OJ did anything wrong?
Everything. He had her blood on him, and his blood was found there, and like her blood was all over his house, on his belongings,
and his truck. I think.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. And his DNA was on the
I was
scene,
too young to follow along with it.
Like
and that glove fit.
Like
the only reason the glove didn't fit is he had a rubber surgical glove on.
And we can all make a glove not fit. You open your hand. Like you go all feminine when you want a glove to really get on. You fucking get dainty with that shit. He's up there with his big man hand, like, nope, won't go on, boss.
Dude, even putting on a glove
Johnny
that's
had a rubber glove on.
Yeah, having a rubber glove on can make it hard to put a glove on that's like even slightly too big for you. It's grippy.
They were fitting gloves. They were
fitted ISO. What do you call them? Isotoners.
Isotoner?
Yeah.
All his shit was nice.
Johnny Cochran was a genius for that, bro.
His alibi was that he was in his front yard golfing for 90 minutes and no one saw him.
Yeah,
that's a pretty bad alibi.
Taylor, I highly recommend this mini series because David Schwimmer from Friends, he plays Kardashian. So you may not know this. This is a fun little thing. Kim Kardashian's dad was OJ's best friend. Okay, like those families were intertwined, and so they're present in this during the whole thing. And so David Schwimmer is Kim Kardashian's dad, and he plays OJ's best friend. And as the thing goes on, he's starting to be like, "The fuck's going on here? Wait a minute, what the fuck? What do you mean? They found blood where?" And like he's like, you see OJ's best friend start to realize that
he killed her. Yeah,
he fucked, and everybody starts to realize it. And at the very end, OJ's out and he's free, and he's trying to hobnob and like press the flesh. Because you got to remember this as well. Not remember, but know this about OJ. Huge celebrity back then. This would be like, I don't know, like not who's beloved by all.
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Nielsen.
It'd be like if Patrick Mahomes walked into fucking Outback Steakhouse, everybody shaking his hand and fucking loving him up. But at the end, everybody's looking at OJ funny. All them white people, especially, those were his buddies. Like, I don't know if I can be seen with you anymore, Mr. James.
Mr. James, it's the huge amount of blood all over your things. That's what
it's upsetting the customers. You're wearing the gloves, sir.
Yes.
Imagine Tom Brady, like that level of fame, after football started making movies.
Yeah,
that's how famous OJ was.
Naked Gun series. He was doing TV commercials.
It was those insurance commercials. He was like the Allstate man. He was on all the fucking time.
It wasn't Avis?
And
car rental?
Oh no, I'm just saying like,
okay.
I don't know. Nobody knows what Avis is. I'm saying like today you have the Allstate man. Like I know that guy when I see him. Or like J.K. Simmons with the other insurance place. He was like a household name and a nice guy. And he'd always had this, I don't know how to put this, but he was not going to stand up for black people ever. Anytime that there was an issue where you could maybe pull a Muhammad Ali and be like, keep your fucking money, Whitey. No, fuck you. That's wrong how you're treating my black brother. OJ's, what did he say? I'm not black, I'm OJ. That's a direct quote.
Yes. That's what Jay-Z even said that in the song.
That's a good fucking song.
Yeah. It was so legit back in those days. Yeah.
I listened.
and then you have the rumors that Khloe Kardashian looks like OJ too, right? So it's like that's how
Khloe Kardashian is 100% OJ Simpson's daughter. OJ was boning his best friend's wife. Look at that bitch. She looks like she could run for some yardage too. All right, the rest of them
before the plastic surgery.
And the crazy thing is the rest of them, Bruce Jenner is the other super athlete who was Kris Jenner was hooked up with some of the most athletic supermen of her time, I guess. But yeah, OJ did that shit 100%, Taylor. It's like not even questionable. It's so crazy. All right, so here's the conspiracy theory that I could buy a little bit. Never will you convince me that like, oh, it was just crazed killers in the night. You know how it is over in the richest neighborhood in America. No, I could believe that OJ's son had seen enough, had enough of his dad's name being dragged through the mud, had enough of his mom blowing Jewish waiters in his daddy's house, and he was going to put a fucking stop to it. And he went over there and did some shit, and OJ showed up, or maybe he goes back to OJ. And he's like, "What have I done?" And OJ's like, "What did you do?" And they stuck everything together with glue, and OJ paid the lawyers, and he said, "I'll take the bullet for my son if I have to." You'd like to believe that about the juice. You'd like to, because man, he could run. We looked it up. Those yards, no one realized how many yards per game that man was getting until we fucking looked it up. And then I understood a little bit of how he got off too, because I mean, it's just unfathomable.
Have you seen the Family Guy episode where they make fun of it, where like OJ comes on as a character? Obviously, it's not actually voiced by OJ, but the whole time is like a redemption arc for him, where Peter's like, "Oh wow, I guess he's not so bad," or whatever the fuck. And at the very end, like OJ's like talking to the whole town who came to storm the Griffin's house and be like, "We want him out of here," and he's like, "I've made mistakes, sure. Who among us hasn't? But to say I've done that, it's egregious." And everyone's like the almost Simpsons end of the episode where everyone kind of learns something. And then in like the last 2 seconds, there's a blonde woman standing next to him, and he goes and stabs her to death and then runs away. And Peter's like, I guess he did it. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I gotta look that up now.
Catches you off
Family
guard.
Guy has some snarky, like quick humor sometimes. There was one recently where this lady smoking at the bar, and the guy comes up and he's, "I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't smoke here." And she goes, "Oh, I'm transgender." And he goes, "Oh, well then carry on doing whatever you want."
Yeah.
Part of OJ's defense was that he didn't have the athletic ability to best a woman in hand-to-hand combat. He said that his knees were too beat up. So the prosecution put on an exercise tape in VHS that he had put out like a month before the thing of him doing jazzercise.
Not only that,
that's a terrible defense. That's literally unbelievable.
It gets worse. It gets worse. You know what else he did? So the jazzercise thing was a little older than a month, maybe a year, but a month before she was murdered, he was taking part in a knife combat class. For a movie. It was like
I've never heard that before.
Practice what you preach.
It was like a knife combat
method
class.
actor.
He took for a movie role or something like that. They thought of him for the Terminator. He was one of the 4 or 5 names.
Yeah.
And one of the things they said is like, come on, he's too likable.
Yeah. And he's not as juicy as fucking Arnold. You need a
they didn't want Arnold either. Arnold
was like a 4th choice, I think.
Interesting.
Arnold got it because Arnold was contacting James Cameron constantly. Hey, I want to talk to you about this thing. Or his people were. What it was Arnold's people were contacting him. Arnold didn't want it, and James didn't want Arnold, but they got kind of forced to a meeting where they both intended to kind of push the other off, but they inadvertently won each other over in that conversation. But originally, the Terminator, if you think about it, is supposed to look like a regular dude. He's an infiltration model. The idea is the Terminator slips into your group. He's just that dirty guy we found on the road. Yeah, he lost his family to the monsters too. Yeah, you set you up in here, buddy. Here's your bunk. Showers down the hall. And then that night, he's just walking bed to bed, fucking killing people with his fucking fingers, stabbing them in the eye. But Arnold showed up.
He was supposed to be like the little kid in Screamers.
Yes, exactly. Screamers, a great movie.
Classic.
Arnold is the worst undercover guy ever. He's very obvious. He's huge.
It was supposed to be Lance Hendrickson. for that
No idea who that is. Never heard that name in my life.
He's a great actor. He's in tons of action and sci-fi. He even had a TV show on Fox in 1999 called Millennium. But he's the
Lance is the android from Aliens.
He's the synthetic from Aliens.
Alien, all of them.
And he came in with James Cameron and one of the pitch meetings to Fox or somebody like that, and he was like in Terminator character, being fucking weird, and nobody knew who he was, and he had put an aluminum foil on his teeth too, inexplicably, because nobody knew what the Terminator was going to look like exactly. That was one of the ways they got funny, but they ended up sticking Lance Hendricks in the movie anyway. He's the detective who's taking Sarah Connor's like story and everything down, telling her about. Yeah, never believed her. Got blown away by Arnold with the fucking. He's got like a Sega in one hand and like a G3 in the other. Just it's a great movie. Another one that you saw that one, didn't you, Taylor? Terminator 1.
Yes,
you had to.
I saw it many years ago.
Yeah,
I was not really
theaters,
paying
bro.
attention.
Yeah.
That was a scary movie when this came out, because you put yourself in Sarah Connor's shoes. Like you could not imagine how you would escape that. Like that was a scary movie back in the day. Trust me. Like nowadays it's light work, right? But
when Arnold doesn't have his eyebrows, and when some of his hair's been burnt off, and he has this slick look where he's just, I don't mean like slick like cool, I mean like he's just smooth faced and weird looking as he's scanning. He really doesn't look like himself and looks really fucking scary. That I don't know how we got onto that.